Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to my weekly podcast series called Encouragement for Your Life. Most of you know I'm a national speaker, trainer, and coach. I like to say I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking, presentation skills, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. I've got a number of other presentations on my website if you'd like to check those out. If your organization has an upcoming conference and you need a keynote speaker, I hope you'll reach out at debsofield.com. I would love to be a part. I've got a number of great books on the market. My best-selling book, Speak Without Fear. My book, Perfecting Your Platform. Both of those are on Amazon and Audible if you like to listen to books. And my series, Encouragement for Your Life, which is a compilation of these podcasts, they're available on Amazon, volumes 1 through 3. Just go into Amazon, type in my name, Deb Sofield, all my books will appear. Well, I'm back to one of my favorite topics, and this one I'm calling, What is Taking Up Space? I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for joining me. Let's get started right after the break. All right, here's my big idea. What is taking up space? And then in parentheses on the blog, I have the parable of the fig tree. So it was during the Easter weekend I came across a reading about the parable of the fig tree. And it got me thinking about the truths in the story and how they relate to me and perhaps to you. The story is found in the book of Mark, chapter 11, verses 12 through 14. The story relates an incident of a fig tree that had leaves but no fruit. And since it was not producing, it had no value. Was it a beautiful tree? Yeah, maybe. It had a larger purpose, and that was to bear fruit. So how disappointing to see and assume the tree produced the fruit it should, and then, upon closer inspection, it didn't have one fig. The parable tells how it was cursed and it withered away and died. Now granted, there's many meanings to the parable, but in our time today, I want to focus on the fig trees in our lives. The things we hold on to because they look good, and yet they provide nothing in return. And while at one time we thought they held promise, the truth is that today they just take up valuable time, space in your heart, mind, and perhaps your wallet. Every year on tax day, April 15th, I conduct a review of my businesses and I take an inventory of what's working, i.e. providing income, and what's not. And although it's hard for me to put the axe to my pet fig tree projects and waste of time hobbies, the reality is the older I get, the sooner I need to take note of what's costing me and what's providing for me. Sufficient to say, I've had to cut down a few of my favorite fig trees, and I'm sure I have many more to cut as I continue to review the books. Listen, it's not easy to root out things in life that we all enjoy, but in the long run, they simply cost more than money. They cost time and energy. And that energy needs to be spent on doing things that provide a lasting value. That being said, I do keep a few things that don't break the bank of time and money and bring me joy. But to continue to throw good money and time after bad, non-producing endeavors, those are the ones that need to be cut down and hauled off to the dump. Any financial advisor looking at the situation from a bird's eye view would most likely advise me to eliminate the dead weight of old inventory, release my favorite late paying client, and limit those who just want to talk, or I hate the phrase, pick my brain. I don't have time for that. And while I'm happy to help someone find their way in business, there are days when I return to the office and realize I have spent hours being a listening ear and a non-paid advisor. Hey, it's no one's fault but my own, and the fact is it's up to me to make the tough decision and get comfortable with the word no, however hard that is to do. And to say otherwise, I just wouldn't be truthful. I enjoy the company of new and longtime friends, and I see no value in being a hermit who climbs the mountaintop alone. Without a doubt, it's more fun with my posse of wild and crazy friends. Those are decisions I make, and I willingly pay the price knowing the outcome. How about you? What's taking up time and space that you need to weed out of your life to make room for something to grow and bear fruit that would provide shade or sustenance for your future? In our time today, I want to focus on 3 things I see over and over in the lives of my audience and clients. For a while, I was hooked on Storage Wars, one of my favorite time-wasting TV shows. And what got me was show after show was the overwhelming sight of storage lockers that were full to the brim with stuff, including garbage bags filled with garbage. Really, people? I would be sitting on the couch howling with laughter and amazement at the junk they pulled out from the bins. Until one day I hiked up to my attic to get something and looked around thinking, whoa, Deb, wait a second. You're ripping on a TV show, but in the midst of moving to a new home, I brought everything with me with the intention of sorting it out when I was, settled years ago. Needless to say, I got started cleaning out my own stuff. I can't rip on others if my own place is unorganized. With 16 boxes of stuff gone and things I no longer needed or wanted hauled off to Goodwill and Miracle Hill, I feel better. Was it easy to do? To be honest, not really. It's hard to look through your life's collection and realize the value just isn't there anymore. Or in my case, my career is on a slightly different path. So to make room for things that matter now, since some things just needed to go. I'm a firm believer that if your space is not settled for your clarity of mind and energy, you're harming yourself. We all have that one junk drawer, but that's not what I'm talking about today. So bear with me as I ask some questions about the fig trees you might want to consider clearing out of your life. Here's my first one, and if you've heard any of my other shows, you know this is my pet peeve. Hey friend, can you get both cars in your garage? You have a 2-car garage, right? Can you park at least one of them in there? Can you find what you're looking for when you look for it in the closet, the drawer, the back room, or the attic? Is the garden shed ready for spring? Or are you still hanging on to winter's long-deceased plants and potting soil? I don't have to remind you that what's filling your space is using up your time and energy. I was listening to a realtor friend on the radio, and he suggested this test. If you were to put your house on the market today, what would you have to clean out to get ready? Now, if that thought makes you dizzy, please sit down. Because, friend, you would be wise to consider a weekend of hauling things off to your favorite charity. I love the quote from Marie Kondo. You could say that tidying orders the mind, while cleaning purifies it. I've never been a hoarder. It's not my nature. But what I found, it's easy to hang on to friends who aren't going the same direction as I am. And frankly, it's hard to find your tribe nowadays. So old friends are, old friends, and usually the good ones, until they're not. And you'll know when that happens. Things change. It just feels different. No matter how hard you try to relive the good old days. And while I'm not encouraging you to wholesale slice and dice your friend list, consider those who lift you up, whom you learn from, and enjoy their company, as well as those who make you feel depleted after time spent together. People change, and since that's a fact of life, you need to see it for what it is, and not just what you remember. We've all heard the message that we are an amalgamation of the 5 people we spend the most time with, basically the law of averages. Whether it's financial, physical, health-related, weight-related, or relationship-related. Our tribe influences us. So, how's that working out for you? If it's not, let me encourage you to do the hard thing. Grab that axe and start cutting away those fig trees. People who are causing you harm, especially those who, by their jealousy, hurt your feelings. Even though outwardly you act like it doesn't matter, you know that it does deep inside. It does. I think it's about time you honor your feelings. Hey friends, you matter. And I guarantee you'll be happier without them in your life. Remember, it's better to be alone than with those who make you feel alone. We all have those few friends who are just plain mean and unpleasant when things don't suit them. Remember, their issues in life don't need to be hoisted upon your shoulders. Don't carry their burdens or their bad attitude. Prune them out of your life so you're not poisoned by their venom. This is hard. I'm going to talk about friendship now. Friendships are hard. Family dynamics are hard. Life is hard enough without having to deal with those who don't treat you fairly or kindly. Now, if you're a hopeful person, perhaps you should start by pruning the relationship. And if over time it does not improve, be strong enough to take decisive action and chop away. It's always hard to focus on ourselves when it comes to cutting away the dead wood. If we're going to be successful, it'll be necessary for us to see ourselves eyes wide open to the truth. Recently, on a radio show that I am a part of, I had a guest from a local recovery agency talk about helping people deal with their addictions. Simply put, I was moved by the number of good people who have fallen into some type of addiction, so much so that they are walking the fine line between friendship and isolation, marriage and divorce, and dare I say, life and death. None of us knows where the line is, but we all know that we will never live up to our potential if we are masking our problems with alcohol. The same is true for painkillers or drugs. It doesn't take long to cross that line between need and want. And once crossed, it will take all you have within you, and then some more, to cut away from the net of addiction that has entangled you. The invisible net will engulf and smother you into your addiction to online porn, gambling, compulsive shopping, prescription pills, hours of internet scrolling, food addiction or starvation, sex, nicotine, marijuana, work, TV, video games, tooth whitening, tanning, exercise, plastic surgery, anger, and the list goes on, and everything, if you are not careful, that will try to take over your life. Addiction is the thing you cannot prune to fix. It needs to be cut off and rooted out if you have any hope of recovery or survival. Let me add this note. Friend, there is help available when you wake up to the fact that you need someone to talk to and someone who can help you find a place of hope for your addiction. Never believe the lie that you're alone. Many people who love you are willing to help, but you got to take the first step and see your life for what it is today. Here's the bottom line. Only you know what's taking up space in your life. We all have fig trees that need to be dealt with. You can ignore it and let it use up the valuable land, water, and space that it will ultimately need to grow until it grows out of hand, and then you cannot cut it down by yourself. Or you can do the hard work now while you're able. Take an axe to the tree, cut out the roots, then replant something good that will provide shade or nourishment for your future. Our friend, take an inventory of your life. Be bold and strong to cut through the undergrowth so you can plant a forest of success for your future. I know, tough lesson today, but I got to tell you, you and I both know people that have things that are taking up space in their life, and because that is so much a part of what they do on a daily basis, they can't see the forest for the trees, and they have no way out unless a friend like you is willing to have that tough conversation. I hope we have these tough conversations, and I hope you understand that I do it because I care. I want you to have an amazing life, and I hope you'll join me next week because I've got another tough love message that I believe will help put you on the right path for success. And remember this, Deb does not care what the world says about you. I don't care what the world even thinks about you. I want you to know I care, and I care because I believe you can do big things, but friend, that is only going to happen when you take the axe to the trees that are literally choking out your life. It's not worth it. Now's the time to get to work. And here's the deal. I'm going to walk alongside you as we follow that dream together. And I'll join you as we start a fire and burn those fig trees that have no value. All right, take care, everybody. Join me next week. I've got a great show coming up. Have a good weekend.